This is things you might not have heard, and I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and on the queued up today for even stories today, 8 from yesterday, the Tuesday edition to the Wednesday edition for today, that are you deemed as conversational. We cover information, politics, current events, and pop culture news on the show today. And today, no actual disappointment. We'll talk Mark Carney, which is, yes, the Donald Trump, Mark Carney back and forth. Also, the bankruptcy of Rite Aid and Dum-Dums. The candies are in the news for a very cute and maybe a lesson we all should learn going forward. Five other stories, 8 stories total for this morning, and the vetting process we got for these stories we'll talk about in a bit. 3 things up front right now. Our website home, this is a conversationproject.com. Check it out for all details you need to know about what we do and how we do it there. We also have a sponsor for the day that you can find at our website. This is conversationproject.com/chess store, the chess store, I should say. The chess store is one of our very favorite longtime sponsors, and if you buy from them using our link, we get a small commission back from them. Thank you so much for that. And of course, email us with all the comments, concerns, and the questions you may have about what we do here at the Conversation Project at the Conversation Inbox at gmail.com. 8 stories for you today for Wednesday, May the 7th, 2025. No particular order as these stories are presented, but we'll give you some details in how the actual engagement goes, how they got to be picked here in the narratives. And of course, we'll tell you the whole details on how you get to be in the feeds and pick the stories, help us pick the stories going forward. We start off at number 1 with Donald Trump and Mark Carney clashing over the joke that Trump said is a joke that isn't so much a joke about Canada becoming the 51st state. A recent Oval Office meeting between the new Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, and President Donald Trump from the U.S. Tense exchange, although laughable, if you will. It was in jest to a point where Trump kept bringing up the suggestion that Trump would bring in Canada as the 51st state for the United States, bringing up things like tax breaks and free military and great healthcare, things that, healthcare, especially that Canada's more known for having better than, but essentially saying that he thought Canada would be a great deal to bring into the States, where Carney basically flat out said, Canada's not for sale. When asked about this, it said, never be on the market. And Trump said, we'll never say never. And they went back and forth like that. Dismissing it was sort of the weird thing, but the whole point of the back and forth was actually the fact that it was fairly charming, if you will. Carney knows how to deal with high-powered people because he's done this in the European Bank and, of course, now new to Canadian politics. But here's the thing. Trump claimed that the U.S. subsidizes Canada by $200 billion annually and provides free military protection. The Canadians have a military. I've met their Air Force. They have the same pieces. They have their own sort of set of fighters like the Thunderbirds that perform at different things. They can take care of themselves. They also lost lives alongside ours when we took on things in Operation Desert Storm. So it's there. Canada could benefit from the United States. It's something that Trump keeps saying. And Carney, the prime minister, says, we're okay. We're good. Let's get a deal. Let's do some trade like we've been doing for, 150 some odd years. And Trump was like, well, maybe we'll buy you sometimes. The firm exchanges from both leaders described the meeting as constructive. No policy shifts happening. In fact, Trump was asked about taking off some tariffs, and Trump was like, nah, we don't really feel like doing that. I don't think we're going to do that. So the relations right now, maybe not so frosty, maybe not so tense, maybe not as big and blustery as it was when Carney was giving his campaign speeches and, of course, his speech when they won the majority of votes in Parliament. Not all the votes, because it still need to do some coalition stuff, but he still remains prime minister for the moment until some issue with coalitions break apart. But Donald Trump was very, I guess, in one case, he was very sort of self-deprecating when saying that he was the best thing for Canada and for Carney's election because the party was losing and then he won. But he also keeps saying that we're still going to buy Canada. I don't see it's something that's not going to happen. He still thinks free healthcare that we provide them, which is not true, and free military protection, also not true, is a thing. Our second story is also Donald Trump's story, where he also announced this inside of the Oval Office meeting. He had to sort of readdress this later on because there were some questions about it. But the initial statement, the U.S. will stop attacking the Houthis after the group capitulates to whatever. Happening inside of this meeting yesterday, the statement has popped up in there. Donald Trump let it be known that the Yemen Houthi rebels are going to stop attacking American ships and ships in the Red Sea and the Bab al-Habad Strait. It's basically saying they've capitulated. They give up. His words, they don't want to fight anymore, so we're going to trust their words and not shoot at them. 2 months of nearly intensified U.S. military operations called Operation Rough Rider, which involved over 800 airstrikes aimed at delivering death blows to Houthi attacks, not so much happening. So we have attacked their airports, we attacked their the seaports, shot down their drones and aircraft because they've been attacking folks in a way to support the Palestinians, or actually Hamas, but the Palestinian fight in Gaza against the Israelis. Ceasefire was mediated by Oman, a real ceasefire, and U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff had some role in this one. When asked about this one as well, Trump was like, "We don't want to tell you who told us that, but we have some pretty good sources," making it sound more like a bluff than it really was because it seems to be something real. He had to address later on in the evening the question about the Houthis, saying that they're not going to stop attacking Israel. Not going to stop attacking Gaza. They're going to keep fighting the Israelis because that's what they do. And so while Trump said he didn't know anything about that and the deal wasn't on that one, the actual ceasefire, the actual breakaway came from attacking ships in the Red Sea, attacking American ships and cargo ships in the Red Sea. The Israelis thing, that apparently is not his problem. Big one for Pam Bondi in the U.S. Attorney General's office as she announced the largest fentanyl bust in U.S. history, marking a significant victory in the nation's fight against drug trafficking. The multi-agency operation led by DEA resulted in the arrest of 16 individuals and the seizure of substantial quantities of illicit drugs, firearms, and cash across several Western states. About 3 million fentanyl pills, 11.5 kilograms of fentanyl powder were confiscated in this bust. About 35 kilograms of methamphetamine, 7.5 kilograms of cocaine, and 4.5 kilograms of heroin. Not as much as the other things, but hey, it's all in the mix. Firearms, about 49 of them recovered, ghost guns and weapons modified for automatic fire, including about $5 million in cash on the seizure. Multiple states, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, Nevada, Oregon were part of this. In Albuquerque alone, agents discovered 2.7 million fentanyl pills, 11.5 kilograms of concentrated fentanyl powder, and various other narcotics. The alleged leader of the trafficking network, Herberto Salazar Almaya, was among those arrested, so big time gets for this as well. Authorities claim he is affiliated with Mexico's Sinaloa cartel, which Trump administrator has designated a foreign terrorist organization. Amaya had previously been deported twice in 2010 and 2012, and so it's been a while since we sent him out again. This time he's arrested. He'll be taken care of. He will be prosecuted in this case. This won't be a deportation issue. This will be, they want to put him in jail. So this is one illegal that will go through jail first, maybe to one of those other prisons, but we'll see what happens. The policy around prosecution for General Bondi emphasizes that the 6 individuals arrested were in the U.S. illegally. They're going to face prosecution instead of deportation, because sending them back means they'll go back to the drug cartel business and work their way back to the states going forward. So these guys are being prosecuted under American law before anything happens and will be jailed here. And when they're done here, maybe sent back after their prison sentences. This is a historic bust. This is good news for us. USA. This is great. We should celebrate this. It underscores the ongoing efforts by the U.S. law enforcement to dismantle major drug trafficking organizations and combat fentanyl crisis across communities nationwide. This is a good thing. This is a thumbs up for Donald Trump, the administration, Pam Bondi, all the folks who are doing this thing, making it happen. We'll see about the prosecution of the actual masterminds in this dealing. These will be court cases that people will pay a lot of attention to, and they'll basically crow about for a bit. But this one, my friends, is a good thing. Celebrate this win with the administration, because this is what we want them to do. Successful things like this one. Meanwhile, finding people to fill the spots in Congress, in the Senate and the House, is coming a bit more difficult for the folks who want to keep it in red hands. As Georgia Governor Brian Kemp has basically said flat out, he ain't running for the U.S. Senate. Brian Kemp has announced he will not run for the 2016 campaign in the Senate, and he will not take on the challenge of trying to knock out incumbent Democrat Jon Ossoff. The statement posted on social media, Kemp cited personal reasons, stating that being on the ballot next year is not the right decision for me and the family. Expressing also commitment to supporting the Republican Party in many ways, although being a Senate candidate in this upcoming election is not one of them ways. Secession is considered a setback for Republican efforts to unseat Ossoff. He's basically seen Ossoff as one of the weaker seats in the Senate, and someone with a ruby red state like Georgia could actually take on with the right person in there. Yes, we had Herschel Walker. We know what happened with that one. But the governor was viewed as a strong contender due to his statewide popularity and how he had great successes in election. Basically, winning that governor's race was a big deal. Kemp's out of the race, so now the Republicans are looking for their man or woman. Many names are floating around. U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene could take a step up to the Senate from the House. Also, names like Buddy Carter, Mike Collins, and Rich McCormick, and also Agriculture Commissioner Tyler Harper and Insurance Commissioner John King. Here's the thing with MTG. She is right now a shooting star, a superstar in the House, doing the things she does. You may agree or disagree. And so they don't really need to lose that seat into the House. I mean, and in a place where of all the other House seats that are kind of, may go back and forth, and really purplish in some cases, Marjorie Taylor Greene's spot in her ruby red district is hers. It's theirs. And she probably pony somebody up to keep it, but because it's hers, they want her there. She might make a great senator. She might make a terrible senator. Who knows? But what we know is she's doing what she can in the House and just being who she is. And most people want her to stay there where she can be contained to a bit. Going to the Senate's a whole other thing. The big issue is Ossoff. How do they battle Ossoff and get that seat to be red from blue from Georgia? We'll see what's going on. Now, here's where things get technically difficult, interesting for Brian Kemp. He might be looking for a run for the president in 2028. Maybe. Who knows? We'll see. He may have other office ideas going forward or just looking for a cabinet position to go higher national. But basically, he has higher expectations beyond just the Senate coming forward in the next couple of years. So will he go for it? He can't seek re-election. He is term limited, so he's done with that one. And so Georgia as a state is out, but Georgia sort of politics and the politics going national representing Georgia, at least not for Senate or House this year. But we'll see if he thinks he can take it on and be the next president out of Georgia, Mr. Brian Kemp. Of course, the former president out of Georgia was a former governor as well. We thank you so much for being with us, making it this far. 4 stories in and 4 more to this promise that you deem this conversational. These are stories that you said are worthy of chatting up, not just going through the list of a run through off someone else's news channel and saying, oh, we're going to talk about this stuff here. But this is also this spot. Should actually cough button this one. Where we need your help. We ask for your participation in helping us grow here. Now, a little bit later in the day, I'm going to do a sort of a whiny rant asking for help, assistance, basically not so much calling out you guys, but calling out myself for things that are kind of going on and things we need kind of keep things going here behind the scenes to make them above the scenes, in front of the scenes, if you will, in front of the curtain. One of those things we always ask you in every single program, because that's how things work, is like, share, and subscribe. We need you to like the video you're watching here. Liking the video shows me that I'm actually picking good stories. That's one thing. It also shows the algorithms that these are stories, these are videos, these are things that should be shown to other people to get more engagement in. YouTube, Facebook, and X want people to stay on their platforms as long as possible. So if you tell the YouTubes that this is a story, this is a video, this is something that people might watch, and people watch it, they'll keep people engaged in this one, and it'll keep me in the fight for doing these new stories. Share it with like-minded people who you already know who will enjoy this on whatever platform you think they'll watch it on. If X is their place, share it in X. If your jam is Facebook, do it there. And of course, YouTube is our main metric. We have over 2,100 subscribers, 2,130, I think. I'll have to look at the number, which is over there, to be specific. And we're growing, and we hope to actually do this doubling in this year. But it's going to be a challenge. We need you to share this with more folks so more people are liking it. And the challenge is subscribing. Subscribe where you want to. So if you're an X person or you're a Facebook person, do it there and watch the videos and get the information where it's good for you. But our main metric is on YouTube. We need more YouTube subscribers, and we get them from all cases. We have the shorts feed subscribers, and we have the longer feed subscribers. Sometimes they cancel each other out. We have people who subscribe because they actually don't like the words coming in my mouth. They actually want to be in an engagement that is a bit more confrontational. They're looking for somebody to be mad at, and that is fine. We'll do that. We'll have those conversations. We'll have those comments. I love those as well. But we need people to like, share, and subscribe to grow the News Nerd Nation wherever we can to keep this thing going forward. Rite Aid is filing for bankruptcy again. Just 8 months after reorganization from bankruptcy. They're back into it for second time in less than a year. This time it's Chapter 11. Last time it's Chapter 8, marking a significant setback in the beleaguered pharmacy chain. The filing was this week, the 5th of May, coming right after the 8 months the company emerged from its previous bankruptcy in September of 2024. Several factors behind the financial troubles of Rite Aid. In 2024, the bankruptcy was because they failed to meet financial projections, meaning they could not have value in their loans dropped. They basically could not actually pay their loans back. The company reported assets of 1 billion to 10 billion in the latest filing, so they have assets, but they should be more. They also have operational challenges due to many issues. One, liquidation of old stores and just how things are happening. Two, the way drugstores work these days, locking everything behind counters and what's going on is a big deal. And the inability to stock shelves adequately with stuff that people will buy when they're not buying drug stuff. And the pressures of the market, the pressures of pharmacy chains, pressures of competitions from prescription profits. Mark Cuban and his mail you drug thing right there, stuff like that. The way people are getting their drugs these days are changing. The availability, the price, the markets. So just going up to a drugstore and just buying stuff. And then choosing not to go to your local family pharmacist, go to a place that has chain stuff so you can buy your eggs, your milk, your butter while you're there. It's not conducive. I can tell you we have a Walgreens right down the street that used to be the main hub we shopped at. Moved houses, but basically moved, 3 miles from here, 3 miles there to Walgreens, the same general vicinity, the same general space. We rarely frequent the Walgreens anymore. It was a quick stop for batteries, for milk, for bread. We didn't even use it for our prescriptions. Prescriptions were another store down the street because of other stuff. We rarely stop by this place, which should be the quick spot going forward, which shows you how pharmacies are basically losing what's going on. In this current phase, they're going to close about 1,245 stores, 15 states. New York State is going to close 178 stores alone, 11 in the capital region. So this is a big deal. Many folks will lose jobs because there won't be any place to go going forward. If you have issues with Rite Aid and you're a shopper there, you need to check in on what's going on. They're going to kill their issuing points for the rewards program. They're going to stop honoring gift cards after June the 5th. They're going to transfer your subscriptions to any place you want to going forward. They need about $1.94 billion in financing to basically keep things going in the process of bankruptcy. And that's just to get through that process to see what happens on the other side. If there is another side. We're sticking with financial news. And while President Trump is going back and forth about the number of dolls people are actually going to buy for Christmas, dolls are actually a big issue. And the price of dolls are a real concern. Where Mattel, which makes more than dolls, but they are, of course, the makers of Barbie and Hot Wheels, are going to change their forecast. They actually pull their annual forecast, and their plans are for price hikes because tariffs are hitting them hard already and will only get worse. It's withdrawn its 2025 financial forecast with plans to raise prices on some U.S. products due to increased costs from tariffs. These are, of course, imposed by the Trump administration, which is bringing in tons and tons of money, and the money's coming out of our pockets. Our pockets. The company anticipates approximately $270 million in additional costs this year as a result of the tariffs going forward. And to mitigate the impact, they're accelerating their efforts to diversify its manufacturing base away from China, aiming to reduce U.S. imports from China below 15% by 2026. That does not mean they're going to make them in Sheboygan or Poughkeepsie. That just means other countries with less tariffs at the moment. The company is also implementing selective price increases, particularly on mid-tier products, while maintaining about 50% of its toys remaining priced at $20 or less. So most toys will still be in a very exclusive price range because it's what's there, it's what's marketable. But you will see some slight increases, and some of the bigger things will get bigger because they have to. With these challenges, Mattel is reporting better than expected first quarter sales regardless, $827 million, although it experienced a wider loss of $40.3 million compared to the previous year. The company continues to focus on cost savings measures across supply chains and navigate the evolving landscape for trade for everyone. This is not just Mattel's problem. This is literally everyone's problem. Mattel just has a better way to combat this with the popularity of the toys it sells, Hot Wheels and Barbie at the forefront. and they're being upfront with what's going on, which may not be the greatest thing for the administration to hear, but essentially admitting that it's the tariffs that are causing issues, and it's going to make the tariffs will make things cost more. And about here's how much things will cost in the future while the tariffs are an issue. Also, still an issue, at least to one guy, Shedeur Sanders. A fan has actually sued over the drop, the slide, the dismissal of Sanders as a third pick or a first round pick or a second round pick or a third round pick in the NFL draft for 2025. A fan filed a $100 million lawsuit against NFL, alleging emotional distress over quarterback Shedeur Sanders' unexpected drop to the fifth round in the 2025 NFL draft. John Doe, as is laid in the actual filing, claims the negative media reports and alleged collusion among NFL teams unjustly harmed Sanders' reputation, leading to his selection at 144 overall by the Cleveland Browns. Lawsuit accuses the NFL of violating Sherman Antitrust Act. We get a lot of those these days, actually, by suggesting a coordinated effort among teams to limit Sanders' opportunities, and alleges racial discrimination in a breach of the Civil Rights Act. 2 for 1. Here you go. Doe seeks punitive damages for himself, the official acknowledgement of emotional harm, retraction of slanderous statements, and reforms to promote fairness in the draft process. Critics dismiss the lawsuit as frivolous, which I do as well, noting that fans typically lack legal standing to sue over draft outcomes, because it really doesn't, and legal experts anticipate the case will be dismissed due to lack of merit. I'm not a legal expert, but that's where my money is in this one. Of course, Sanders is the son of Sanders, famous Hall of Famer Deion Sanders, and was rejected to be a first-round pick, maybe number 3 after his cohort Travis Hunter went number 2, expected to be number 2, and Cam Ward expected to be number 1. Concerns about pre-draft interviews and perceived attitude issues reportedly contributed to his slide in the draft. He's got a bit of a swagger that is, what you get. He's got an arm, but he's got some issues with some of his mechanics, and the swagger was an issue. So number 3 didn't happen. Third round didn't happen. Fifth round happened, of course, after the fourth round. Yeah, the thing with the Falcons kid. Despite the controversy, Sanders is ready to get to work. He wants to prove himself with the Browns or whoever he will end up with eventually. There are 5 quarterbacks right now to basically the fight for that job at the Browns coming soon. We will see if Sanders is holding a clipboard this season or actually tossing some plays inside of this season for 2025-26. I have to be honest with you. The story did not get a lot of engagement. It did not get into the range of stories. It had about 17 stories looked at that were heavy hitters, which are engaged today. But as it got down to this last 7 that we picked in there, and we were kind of floating around literally 2 stories to kind of put in for that 8th story. I've scrolled through the entire list again and saw a few that just jumped out at me. And this is the one that we're going with. So I have to admit, this is one that is not based off your engagement. This is one that's based on purely my joy and love to see this story. Hopefully you'll see the joy and love of it, because we need some joyful, loving stories. And sidebar, if this were me and this were, 40 years ago and, phones existed, I'll be getting the butt whooping of my lifetime. That's just me. Here's this story. An 8-year-old boy from Lexington, Kentucky, unintentionally ordered approximately 70,000 Dum-Dums, 70,000 lollipops using his mother's phone, resulting in a surprise delivery of a $4,000 charge to mama. The boy's named Liam. He intended to use the lollipops as prizes for a carnival he planned for his friends. Yay, Liam. His mother, Holly LaFavors, discovered the unexpected shipment of 22 cases of lollipops at her doorstep. Despite her efforts to cancel the order, it was too late, as they were there. However, after contacting her bank and speaking with the media, Amazon refunded her money. LaFavors has since updated her phone security settings to prevent similar incidents in the future. One of the bigger episodes of this thing, as phones became ubiquitous, was the story from maybe 5-6 years back, way back, when they had the Smurfs game on your iPhone. And one kid was able to buy like $1 million worth of Smurf berries because he was playing them on his phone. It's like, oh, Smurf berries, punch, 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 punch. Yeah, they reversed those charges too. So this is a good story. This is a great story. And this is not a case where Liam got away with something. He had a great intention, didn't quite understand what was going on. That's why, toddlers should not be allowed to use phones and do commerce. They can't enter in contracts and all. But this is a fun story where lessons were learned. And as I said, if this was my lesson to learn, the butt whooping of a lifetime, one of many, and one of many in succession for this one in particular, would have been engaged for this story here. Liam, thank you so much for having the heart to be a good guy. Lisa or Holly, thank you so much for having the heart to, not kill your child. And Amazon, thank you so much for being good sports in this one. As I said, we take the stories from your engagement in most cases. Sometimes my brain and my love for a need for something cool happens and it overwrites that. So that's why the kicker story is the lollipop story. And I love some Dum-Dums. I got like 3 bags at the office that we have for people to come by the office. Today, we're going to talk about some teaser stories that you can engage in that may make the difference, that make them into the actual slots. We'll see about 30 stories throughout the day posted in our feeds on Facebook and X. And if you like the stories or don't like the stories, just engage in the stories and give us your thoughts on them. And we will get a chance to maybe talk about them in the 8 stories for tomorrow. Columbia University lays off nearly 180 after Trump pulls $400 million over anti-Semitism concerns. Burger King to defend Whopper ads in federal court after customers sue for fraud. Those burger ads, they never look like the burgers. And this is a case where we'll see go to court. And Trump actually mocked Obama and his disaster of a presidential library and offers to help to get it finished. Thanks, Donald Trump. Those are 3 stories that are queued up right now as I'm recording this story. So you can see them if you're watching this live. You'll see them fairly soon popping up. Or if you're watching this later on, they're in the feed somewhere. Facebook.com/This Conversation Project and x.com/th_conversations where you can find these stories and more. Every 50 minutes or so, we'll post stories like this for you to engage in them and let us know if they are worthy of talking about. And if I don't override it with a story about a kid buying $4,000 worth of lollipops off his mom's credit card, maybe we'll talk about them tomorrow. Our spotlight sponsor today is the Chess Store. We're glad to talk about the Chess Store. Chess Store is a long-standing sponsor for More Better Media, and things have been going along because chess is something that's been a big deal in my family for a bit. I've been playing chess since the 6th grade, 7th grade, where some kids in our free period were playing chess. And I was like, hey, what's up with that? And in the game, I've been playing poorly ever since. Don't let my 40 years of bad chess get in the way. Also, my daughter, who has just turned 13, took up chess with our chess club, which we don't talk about enough these days, when she was young, and found a love for the game that was pretty surprising. And she's actually fairly good at the game and good at learning, good at the knowledge, good at what it comes to. Chess is a great way to work the mind, if you will, even if you're not so great at it, because it's good for thought processes, thinking ahead, thinking behind, and trying to figure out a way to outdo your opponent, even when you know that you have no real chance of beating them. And we want to help you out by outdoing your opponent by getting a great chess set. So maybe that beautiful chess set on your table will psych them out a bit so that you might get a few moves in there when not paying attention. Craftsmanship, tradition, and quality is what the Chess Store is all about. Investing in the game, as in the pieces and the game itself. You need to know the Chess Store, whether you're a grandmaster or you're just beginning out there. Great chess sets are one of the great things to help you play better at chess. Because playing with a beautiful chess set is also playing with works of art, and it's there a part of telling stories. Your chess set is a story. If it's tournament gear because you're in the tournaments, they have it. If you need a travel set that you can carry around in an airport, pull out and play, and have people's like, wow, that doesn't look like a cheap thing from Rite Aid, it's there as well. A beautiful chess set for your table, your coffee table, or chess pieces for around your room, they're there as well. The fine selection for players and entry levels of all styles. Look for it at the Chess Store. Visit our website. This is theconversationproject.com/the chess store. This is conversationproject.com/the chess store. And you get in on great deals. 1, great deals, great customer service will take care of you. And 2, we get a small commission from your purchase through our affiliate link. It's that simple. Check them out at the Chess Store. The Conversation Project lives online at conversationproject.com. This is news that reflects what you care about, not just what people are feeding you, not just what either the right or the left want you to see all the time, not just the words that are coming out of Donald Trump's mouth that don't seem to make sense, yet people are eating them up all the time. We talk about those words and talk about what people are saying about those words and other things as well. And we get you the chance to tell us what stories are worthy of chatting out, what stories are kind of there because they're conversation, literally stories, news stories that should not get glossed over, or stories that are overdone that we should keep overdoing because they're really that important to you. Go to our website, thisisconversationproject.com, and learn more about us. We have all the details there, including links to more sponsors, our partnerships page, and how we got here, past episodes, things like that. Email us with your comments and concerns and questions at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. It's very simple, very easy. If you have a question about what we do or how we do stuff, or you're questioning the stories we put out there, if you want to challenge me on why I did the story in the Dum-Dum suckers, feel free to do that inside of the replies here, inside the video, or at our email address, theconversationinbox@gmail.com. I have mentioned it before. This is a big time. This is the crescendo, if you will. Our feeds are our links on Facebook and X. Facebook.com/thisconversationproject. X.com/th_conversation. When you go to them places, when you see those places, every 50 minutes or so, we post articles, links from various news articles, various sources. Fox News is one, CNBC is another, CNN, of course, often used, and the AP, because they are actual news source, a big news source. Many sources, some you may love, some you may not love. Sometimes we take the article from one source and take the article, take the title from another source and put them together. Sometimes we write them up in all kind of crazy ways and make them more engaging. And we need you to engage in those headlines and the stories. So click the links to read the stories. That's one engagement. Click the emoji face on Facebook or the heart on X to show that you want to engage in story more. There's there. Reply to the story. Comments. Have the little tiffy taps back and forth in the comments and those stories. They are wonderful. We can get to know more about what people think about these stories, these issues, and their engagements. The higher score in engagement, literally, the more time stories get engaged in, the better chance we're talking about them. We'll take the top half of stories on the back end of stories, and the 30 stories we'll get in this day part for Wednesday. We will go through 15, 16, 17, look at those, and try to pick the 8 stories from there that are the most engaging and make the most sense in a narrative. And sometimes, yes, we pick things that come out early that you don't have a chance to vote on because it's something breaking overnight that's important. Or sometimes I go out of left field and pick a story about lollipops because it just touches my heart, my cold, dark, cruel heart. When something can do that, we go for it. That's how we get things here for the conversation. That's how we make this conversational. That's how this becomes a dialogue, a talking back and forth. We're looking for your engagement. You need to be a part of it. So join us in for all the fun and excitement that is the Conversation Project and the feeds. And with that, join us for the fun and excitement that has been things you might have heard for the Wednesday, May the 7th, 2025. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne, and I'm thanking you so much for being a part of what we're doing here. I'm warning you now, since you got this far, we will have a ranty type video that's going to be there'll be no ads attached to it. Be just probably no thumbnail, just a picture of my face, just sort of looking kind of frustrated, talking about some of the things in detail. I have been meaning to do this. This is something beyond what I do for the partners. They get a weekly kind of update what's going on. We got to go through some things because life ain't so great in the background, and we got to just kind of talk about things going on. And a lot of this is life ain't so great in the background for all of us here in the States and the world dealing with sort of the turmoil that's happening. And with that, we just need a kind of a reinforcement. This is not me. This is not a cry for help, although it is a cry for more views. And this is not maybe I just need a hug, which, may or may not help. What it really is just talking about the situation that is the Conversation Project, that is the news coverage we're doing, and literally how news coverage is sort of working. And it's sort of not working. It's turning into essentially buskers on the street being the only way to make money, as opposed to buying concert tickets or buying albums these days. It's a bit of a mess. It's a lot of a mess, and we're going to talk about that in a bit. And I have some long days going on, so I'll probably be tired and really cranky, so bear with me with that one. But we're going to go through this one because it is a big deep dive into the Conversation Project news in a sense, and some of the troubles and turmoils that independent content creators have, that once you get that play button status and everything's shiny, you get nice equipment, everything looks great, and you get a lot of subscribers, doesn't seem to be there anymore. But for folks who can't quite get there, folks who are in that lower levels, who see other people trying to engage every so often and they disappear here or there, folks who have watched people grow substantial audiences and then for whatever reason just have to stop because life gets in the way, it'll be a bit of that one. And with that, we are done officially for the day. Thank you so much. Love you. Mean it. A Thursday edition hopefully to come. The Wednesday edition now done. Look for the hot takes and engage in those as well. Look for more stories if we have time to get them out there in between things. Look for love of life.